Hi, I'm Shelly Peters. This is the place to embrace the plant-based life. Have you ever wondered what are the best health habits that you can master that will have the biggest impact on your life? Me too. And I'm going to share with you my top 3 health habits that will have the biggest impact on your life. And I even have a bonus health habit at the end that I'll share with you. Okay, so we want to know what are the biggest health habits that we're going to master. We're going to go through the trouble of making sure they become a habit. The ones that are going to have the biggest impact on our lives. But before we explore these 3 health habits that I'm going to recommend, I want to ask you to answer one really, really important question. I want you to figure out your why that you want to master health habits. Why are you going to make your health a priority? If you don't know what your why is, then it's really easy just to give up on having that salad or going for a workout. It's just as easy to grab fast food or lay on the couch with some Netflix and nachos and forget about it. It's super important that you understand why you're making these health habits a priority. I would suggest that you write these health habits in important places where you can see them and be reminded of them. I'm going to talk about journaling at the end, and that definitely is a perfect place to write down your why. In fact, get really specific about what your why is, and it will be a really important driving factor for you to be able to master these health habits. So I've honestly spent at least the last decade researching what I should be focusing on to maximize my energy and my vitality. I'm aging. I'm 57 years old. I woke up probably, when I turned 40 and thought, wow, I feel terrible. I'm being jacked on caffeine. I'm indulging in all kinds of crazy food, and then I'm filled with guilt. And it was just this really, really bad cycle. And I thought, you know what? I want to be one of those people who age and in such a remarkable way that they're still like active and healthy way into their 90s. And I really wanted that to be part of my story. And I knew it was going to be up to me. I was going to have to figure out what habits I was going to have to bring into my life. I knew that if I woke up at 75 with a chronic disease, and I realized if I had only started eating properly back when I was, in my 40s, a simple change that really in the grand scheme of things is more than doable. It's actually quite easy. I would feel really bad if I had missed an opportunity to make sure that my health was a priority and just pick a few impactful habits that are going to make a difference. That's why I started getting interested in this. That's why I'm passionate about it to this day. The truth is, I also need to be crystal clear on my why. If you don't have a compelling reason why you're looking after your health, it's pretty easy to ditch whatever it is that you're trying to do. You know how those New Year's resolutions work. It's pretty easy to ditch the workout, for a night on the couch. It's pretty darn easy to do that. So the why is really, really important. Grab your journal, get specific. Why do you want to do this? What kind of life do you want ahead of you? I want to travel, and I've got all kinds of crazy plans, and I don't see them stopping anytime soon. I'm 57 already, so add 30 years onto that. That's not a lot of time. I want to be active and checking off all those things that I want to do off my bucket list. So, my biggest why, I'll be honest, involves my 3 sons. It was about a decade ago that I asked their father to leave, and I was staring down the barrel of single parenthood. And I, looked in my son's eyes and I thought, they didn't ask for this. They didn't ask for a couple of dysfunctional parents or their family to be split up. And I really owed it to them to show up in the best possible way as their mother. And that just didn't involve physical health. It also involved mental health as well. And I needed to be able to change the paradigm of our family, to go from utter dysfunction to a family that was resilient and loving and compassionate and able to handle what life is going to throw at us. And I'm happy to tell you, 10 years later, that's exactly where we are. And it really had to do with me making it a priority, making it a focus, and being singularly focused on figuring out what I need to master in terms of maintaining my physical health and my mental health. When I decided to become a single parent, I knew that wallowing in my own mistakes, and there were many, wasn't going to do myself or my boys any good. So I decided I needed to look to the future. I needed to change the way I was showing up in my life. And so I started with therapy. I'm still in therapy to this day. I'm a huge proponent of therapy. I think it's a perfect way to increase your self-awareness. Get yourself a really good therapist. I highly recommend it. I dove into therapy. I started a support group. And I really, fell into the arms of supportive family and friends. And it was, surrendering myself to change that made it all possible to start mastering habits that were going to be really life-changing for me. So that's how I started, and I would definitely recommend you do the same. If you're at a crossroads in your life and you need to make some big changes, be willing to, surrender yourself to being in transition, which can be very difficult. Look for support around you. Get a really good therapist. Gather a few friends together and tell them what you're going through, what you're planning to do, and how they can best support you. I just think these are really key things to do. So as I started to move forward and started mastering new habits, I wanted to one of my big whys was I wanted to show my kids what it looks like to be accountable for your own life, to show up and say, you know what, I'm going to start eating properly and exercising, and I'm going to look after my mental health. Instead of pointing at my kids who at points were all in struggle, instead of pointing at them or hyper-focusing on them to try to fix them, I thought, as the leader of this family, I need to show them what it looks like to actually walk this talk. So that's what I did, and it's just turned out amazing. The boys and I have really walked away from dysfunction and are a functioning, happy family that can handle all the messes that life hands all of us. So I keep my whys in front of me, front and center. I have them in my office on my whiteboard. I'm a journal person. I journal a lot, and they're always in my journal. And it's really been so long, my whys are so strong that it's really part of what who I am and what I think about a lot. So that's the premise to you mastering habits, these 3 health habits I'm going to recommend. Let's dive into them now. So number 1 health habit I would recommend is to eat a plant-based diet. As you know, that's what I do. That's predominantly what I talk about on my channel. And it is the perfect place to start. It's absolutely perfect way to meet all your nutritional needs and reduce your risk of chronic disease. It's a great way, it's a great remedy for anti-aging. Trust me, I look better now than I did when I was in my 30s because I am putting in my body super nutritional foods, and you can tell. You feel amazing, you look better, it all works. And I just have to say that the second habit I want you to master is exercise. But before we get into that, I do want to point out you cannot exercise away a bad diet. So if you are currently having exercise at the top of your list, I want you to move it to second place, because if you're eating poorly, exercise will not save you from chronic disease. Exercise is important, but what you put into your body is also very, very important. So get your diet lined up first. Get on a plant-based diet. You will be so grateful that you did. There are legions of us doing it, and we're excited about it because it is definitely the way to eat. So the second habit I'm going to suggest you master is exercise, in fact. Research is showing that 40 minutes of intense exercise or 90 minutes of moderate per day is really the goal that you want to get to, the gold standard. If you're not doing any exercise at all, I want you to start slowly. It's really about establishing the habit first. So getting to the gym or getting to that evening walk, and if you can only go around the block, the most important thing is that you're doing it every single day. So make exercise part of your life. The third habit that I want you to master is about mental health, and it's meditation. And meditation is an incredibly powerful tool to calm your mind, to learn how to let go and allow what life is handing you. And if you're not a meditator, that's okay. Start with a couple of minutes. The important thing is starting the habit. I'm going to be talking about habits in future videos, so make sure that you subscribe, because I have a huge interest in how to establish habits, and I'm going to be talking about in a video coming up very soon. I'm going to be talking about the best way to tag your habits onto an existing habit. So I'll just give you a quick example. Let's say that you're going to start meditating. Maybe while you're making your coffee or tea in the morning, while the kettle's boiling or while the coffee is brewing, sit down for 2 or 3 minutes, and that's your meditation. So tag it to something you already do. Now, when it comes to meditation, I've been meditating now for about 23 years, and honestly, it's essential. It really is. And if you're struggling with anxiety or mental health issues, it's even more important, because you want to make sure that you're developing a practice that's going to give you some time to bring more peace and more quiet to your mind every single day. If you've never done it before, one of the other things you can do is get an app. I love the Insight Timer app. I believe it's free. Pretty sure it is. I've had it so long, I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure it's free. And it's great because it will actually track your progress, and it will actually work with you and say, oh, look, you've meditated 3 days in a row. The beautiful thing about Insight Timer is it offers various lengths of meditations that are guided. So you can do like a 2-minute meditation with someone guiding you, or like probably a 45-minute or longer. I typically now meditate between 20 and 30 minutes. And so I look for, if I wanted it to be a guided meditation, I'll look for something of that length. And there are also really cool types of meditations on there. Like there are ones to motivate you, there are ones to relax you, ones to help you sleep. So make sure you explore meditation apps, because they can be really, really helpful. Okay, so that's the third one. The bonus habit I want you to consider is journaling, daily journaling. I've been journaling my entire life, and I honestly believe it's been part of my, I have a pretty good sense of self-awareness, and it started when I was young, and I wonder really if it was related to me connecting to myself through journaling. When you write down your feelings, when you write down what's happening to you, it's an act of self-empathy, because you're giving credence to, I'm feeling sad today, I'm feeling upset, or I'm feeling joyful, or I'm feeling really excited about what's happening. It's giving yourself a chance to honor how you're feeling, what you need to explore, maybe even some strategies to meet some needs that you have. If you're dealing with a difficult relationship, maybe you can come up with a solution through your journal about talking to the person about the relationship and improving on how you're connecting. So journaling is it's near and dear to my heart. It's something I really recommend at all my workshops. I am such a proponent that I actually created a kit called the RX Empathy Kit. And it is actually a kit. It has 4 decks of cards that lead you through self-exploration, taking the messes of life and turning them into opportunities for personal growth. And it is a powerful tool that I use with my clients and with my students, and it helps you to journal. It's a sort of a guided journal exercise. And it's available on my website if you want to purchase one. But all I want you really to do is to journal. I want you to start journaling, and journaling what you're feeling, what your needs are, what your strategies are. Journal questions. I did a social media blitz on something called I believe I called it In Search of Myself. I've done a few of them, and I literally answered every one of the 50 in the empathy kit. It has 50 questions in it just to help you dig deeper into journaling and uncover who you are. And if you check my social media, Instagram and Facebook, and you look back, you'll be able to see my 50 posts on my answering those questions in my journal. So yes, journaling is important. So let's just do a recap. The top 3 things I want you to master that I think are the most powerful are becoming a plant eater, doing daily exercise, and meditating. And the bonus is journaling. So there's really 4. And before you do any of that, I want you to lock on to why you're going to master these habits. It's going to be the driving force that's going to keep you going back when you fall off and you find yourself back in an old, bad habit, and your why is going to drag you back and say, keep on this, stay with it. You're going to master this habit. I promise you, you will. And you just have to stay with it over time. So thanks for joining me, and best of luck on your journey, and hope to see you soon. Take care.